All right, guys, we're going to start the show shortly. Really proud of the information in today's show. You're going to have a lot of local content in today's program. We'll let you know how much it costs to rent the end cap, the corner retail space next to Rapture on the downtown mall. Right now, there's a makeup spot in that location next to Rapture Restaurant. It used to be an art gallery. It was an eclectic retail store at one point. We'll let you know how much it costs per month to rent one of the most coveted storefronts in NCAP on the Charlottesville Downtown Mall. It's located right next to Rapture Restaurant. That story on the I Love CVille show today. The fabulous Alex Erpy is going to join us in about 18 minutes. JP Morgan Chase says all employees will return to the office in July. All JP Morgan Chase employees will return to the office in July. That story for you on the I Love CVille show and how it could impact Central Virginia. Pfizer is releasing a pill. The pill is COVID related. You take the pill if you think you've been exposed to COVID or have COVID from an early stage standpoint. You pop this Pfizer pill. It kind of reminds me of the morning after pill. We'll take a look at the Pfizer pill that you pop if you think you've been exposed to COVID on the program today. Albemarle County has a focus on broadband internet. That topic coming up on the I Love CVille show. We salute Charlottesville's finest that are driving by our studio on Market Street right now. Thank you for your service, Charlottesville's finest. A lot we're going to cover on the program. LeBron James, his rookie card just sold for $5.2 million. We will also talk the future of Gordonsville, Virginia. I'm predicting Gordonsville, Virginia is going to absolutely boom. We will let you know why today on the I Love CVille show. Give the show a like and a share anywhere you're watching. If you would like to share your perspective and have your perspective heard on air, just put it on the comments section anywhere you're watching on any social media platform possible. A lot we're going to cover on today's program on a gorgeous and glorious day to be alive. Judah Wickower, you are the man. I am ready to rock and roll when you are ready, sir. Good Tuesday afternoon, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to the I Love CVille show. We are live in Charlottesville, across Albemarle County, Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille network. A lot we're going to cover on today's program. There's a big meeting with the Federal Reserve tomorrow. We will preview that meeting today with Alex Erpy, the CEO of Emergent Financial Services. The Federal Reserve is basically controlling the economy almost like a puppeteer. It's got a bunch of strings. It's got control of interest rates. It's got control of stimulus. And right now the economy is booming. And there are many insiders, many financial experts that want the Federal Reserve to ease off on the throttle, to stop with the stimulus and stop keeping interest rates in check. We will talk about that with Alex Erpy in about 20 minutes on today's show. Also on today's program, we'll talk JP Morgan Chase. Jamie Dimon has said all JP Morgan Chase employees will return to the office in a rotational setting in July of this year. The expectation for JP Morgan Chase is not only employees returning to the office this summer, but the expectation is a commitment to in-person work at JP Morgan Chase. We'll talk about that on the program today and how that could impact Charlottesville, Albemarle County, and Central Virginia. Albemarle County leadership is making a commitment to broadband internet. Folks, one of the key tenets of my platform and my race and my commitment and my My goal to win a seat on the Board of Supervisors in Albemarle County is broadband for everyone in the county. Albemarle leadership has that on their priority checklist. We'll have that story for you. The University of Virginia has relaxed COVID-19 rules on and off grounds. That story for you. And I'm going to give you my crystal ball prediction why I think Gordonsville, Virginia is going to be the next booming hotspot from a real estate standpoint, from a quality of life standpoint, from people flooding to Gordonsville to buy up homes and to spend their disposable income. That topic in about 8 minutes on the I Love Seville show, along with LBJ, LeBron James, his rookie card, catching $5.2 million for his rookie card. $5.2 million for LBJ's rookie card. We'll give you some details on the show. And folks, the spot next to Rapture Restaurant on the downtown mall. If you're looking at Rapture, from the Rapture patio, the storefront right to the left of Mike and Cecilia's restaurant is now for rent. Currently, there's a some kind of makeup retail store running out of there. And they're not having much success. I'll cut to the chase. If you ever walk up and down the downtown mall, you often will have someone from that makeup retail business asking to provide or give you a free sample of makeup. Most of the folks that are walking up and down the downtown mall, especially during the workday, do not have 15 minutes to get a free sample of makeup because they're on their lunch break or they're in between meetings. That location is now up for rent. We'll give you the nitty-gritty of how much it costs to rent this spot in 2021, in the first 6 months of 2022, and in the last 6 months of 2022. It's a tiered pricing system the landlord is offering for the location right next to Rapture Restaurant. It's a beautiful day. It's a glorious day to be alive. The lead of today's show has got to be this Pfizer at-home pill to treat COVID-19. It could be available by the end of the year. The CEO of Pfizer told CNBC earlier this morning about this stay-at-home pill. It's very straightforward. It kind of reminds me of the morning after pill, a pill that's utilized to keep pregnancies from happening immediately after sexual intercourse. With the Pfizer COVID-19 pill, upon first sign of illness, the gal, takes this pill, pops it, and it helps reduce the chances of getting COVID-19 immediately after exposure. Pfizer has led the way with the vaccine. Remember, they were the first company, along with German drug maker BioNTech, to develop a vaccine for COVID-19. And now they got a drug to create this pandemic, this illness, once exposed, that could be released at the end of this year. Folks, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it again. By the start of the fall semester, there's a real good chance that children will get this vaccine. By the end of fall, Pfizer has gone on record saying we'll have a pill, a day of pill, that folks can take if they think they've been exposed to this virus, to this pandemic, to this COVID-19. There are a lot of solutions that are coming on market. We're inching closer and closer to ubiquitous vaccine distribution. We are wearing our mask. In Central Virginia, we have the lowest numbers from a cases standpoint in about 6 months. There's hope on the horizon. Technology and medicine continue to innovate. We continue to commit to wearing masks. How long that commitment will continue, time will tell. I'm curious to see what happens with masks this summer when we get 100 degrees, when we get super humidity, and when the Blue Ridge Health District has needles in people's arms 10, 12, 13, 14-year-olds are getting the vaccine. I'm curious to see how Central Virginia is going to respond to mask wearing. The positive and the lead of the show is Pfizer's oral drug treatment for COVID-19, a stay-at-home pill, much like the morning after pill. Pfizer's saying you can take this pill if you think you've been exposed to COVID-19, and it will reduce your risk of getting COVID. Props to Pfizer. Props to modern medicine. Another interesting story I think you need to hear about is JP Morgan Chase. Its CEO Jamie Dimon says today we expect all employees back in the office on a rotating basis in July. You will see a trickle-down effect of what is the biggest United States bank by an assets standpoint. The biggest bank in the country told its employees today, expect to be working in the office in July. Mark it on your calendar. We're giving you a heads up. I want to talk from a local standpoint. One of the three businesses we do, the first is an advertising agency where we help businesses around Central Virginia and up and down the East Coast gain market share, get more customers through a strategic enhancement of brand awareness. The equation is very simple for an advertising agency working alongside one of its clients. The equation is enhanced brand awareness means more customers, means new and incremental revenue. That's our primary business. The second business we have is this podcasting network. And the third business we have is an executive office portfolio. We rent executive offices to folks that need them: therapists, app developers, attorneys, CPAs, artists, ghostwriters, tourists, mediators, marriage counselors. These are some of our tenants. There's 27 executive offices in my portfolio, and I will say this: the demand for renting one of our 27 offices, I always have the call to action out there on the marketplace. If you're looking for office space, reach out to me. I do that so I can get a waiting list in the mix. So when one of my 27 offices open, I can immediately text or email or call someone on the waiting list and say, hey, I have one open, would you like to move in? The demand for this waiting list, for businesses to get on the list over the last 30 to 45 days has 3-4x increased. At the end of last year and at the early stages of Q1 2021, it was quiet. I wasn't getting the text messages, the emails, or the phone calls from the boots on the street asking about executive office space. Now, it's 1, 2, 3 text messages, emails, phone calls, or drop-in visits per day of folks asking to get on the waiting list. There's a couple barometers from my standpoint that determine consumer confidence, the reopening of the economy, how local businesses are doing. One of my barometers is the depth of my waiting list for the executive office space that we have for rent. Another one of my barometers is activity, parking, traffic, the occupancy of the parking garages around the downtown mall. You go up and down Market Street, up and down Water Street, you go in the Water Street garage, the Market Street garage, and you see the garages and the on-street parking is full. You look and see who's walking up and down the downtown mall on the UVA corner, and you see foot traffic. More importantly, you see foot traffic during the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday time period that has otherwise been slow. We clearly have the economy reopening. We clearly have injections and vaccinations getting in people's arms, and we clearly have an uptick in consumer confidence. So much so that the University of Virginia has relaxed its COVID restrictions. UVA now allows students to get together indoors at a level of 25 people. It previously was 6 people inside could get together. The UVA edict or restrictions or rules for managing COVID. UVA says yesterday, now 25 people can get together indoors and 75 people can gather together outside. The previous restriction for outside was 25. The previous restriction for inside was 6. The University of Virginia has also gone on record saying fall semester will be an in-person mentality. Students learning in the classroom, students living in dorms. No more virtual, but in the classroom curriculum learning and face-to-face interaction with professors. So you see it happening. You see it happening. Here are the things we need to see continue to happen. We need to see, from a Charlottesville standpoint, we need to see local government figure out how to drive more foot traffic to the downtown mall. We need to see local government figure out how to get this vacancy rate, which is flirting with 25% downtown, open and vacant storefronts. We need to figure out how we can not only get folks downtown from a during the week standpoint, get some of these storefronts full, but we need to figure out how we're going to get, from an Albemarle County standpoint, the storefronts on Route 29 full, and there are many that are empty. Everywhere you look on Route 29, there's a for lease sign. That's the next level of consumer confidence and the reopening of an economy. People coming downtown, it's one thing. UVA saying indoors can go from 6 people to 25, outdoors can go from 25 to 75. That's another good thing. Jim Ryan saying students will learn in person in the fall, and we expect them in person on the grounds, on the grounds of the University of Virginia this fall. That's another great thing. The next level up of reopening, strengthening, getting the economy back on track, the next level is the vacant storefronts. When you see the vacancy rates downtown start dipping from 25%, before COVID, the vacancy rate was less than 1%. So we're like 20 to 25x ahead or above where we should be. When you see those shopping centers on 29 North and those for lease signs start going away, then you start seeing the economy returning to a pre-COVID standpoint, mentality, sense of normalcy. You got Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan Chase saying our employees will get back to the office in July. That is going to have a tremendous domino effect when a company, the largest bank in the country, makes proclamations like that on national television this morning. Other CEOs are going to be like, you know what? Jamie Dimon's a smart dude. And he wants his people in the office. Maybe we should think about that too. Here's another layer to the onion I want you to consider. Let's say your place of employment says you need to work in the office at bare minimum 2 days a week. The other 3 days, we will leave it up to you to either work from your home office or to come into your cubicle, your desk at work. What do you think is going to happen if a portion of the workforce says, I like working in my tighty-whities, I like working in my boxers, I like working in my BVDs, my Fruit of the Looms, my pajamas, my Dora the Explorer plaid pajama pants. I like working in my tank tops. I like working in my silk bathrobe. I want to stay working from my ISP at my house because I can get up late and I can shuffle my feet over to my desk and I can have bed hair and eye boogers in my eyes, and I can be wearing my bathrobe, my Dora the Explorer pajama pants, and my tighty whities with my robe open. What if a portion of the workforce chooses to continue working in that manner, but the other portion of the workforce chooses to put his Brooks Brothers button-down shirt on, the Brooks Brothers blazer, the Lululemon ABC pants, the Ralph Lauren loafers, puts the jacket on, gets in the Explorer, drives from eastern Albemarle County the 20 minutes to get to work, and is working in person next to the boss. Who's going to climb the professional ladder faster? The workforce that is in person, at work, gaining face time with the superiors, with the C-suite, with HR, the workforce coming to Cubicle City, inside the building, at the place of employment, and grinding from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., or the workforce that's working from the ISP at home in the silk bathrobe, chest hair coming out, Dora the Explorer pajama pants on, dirty loafers on, and some BVDs, tighty whities, under the pajama pants. I'll tell you who's going to get ahead. The people who put the FaceTime in at work are going to get ahead. They're going to climb the professional ladder over the folks that are working from the home office. And when somebody like JP Morgan Chase goes on record and says, we expect our employees back in the office, watch what happens from a Keeping Up with the Joneses impact after JB Diamond makes this comment today. All right, a couple more items out of the notebook. Albemarle County has made a commitment to broadband access across the county. The proposed fiscal year 2020 budget includes funding to support a new county broadband accessibility and affordability office. The budget includes $286,000 for 2 full-time employees and related operating costs, as well as $250K for an access and affordability program. Allison Rabel has the story in the Daily Progress today. I am running for Board of Supervisors, Albemarle County. Donna Price is the incumbent and currently in the seat. The election is in 2023. One of the reasons I announced early is to get to know the Albemarle County municipality inside and out, to get to know the stakeholders inside and out. In the Scottsville district, the district I'm a part of, you have 3 primary voting pockets. You have the Glenmore Eastern Albemarle County pocket. You have the Mill Creek Avon Extended pocket. And you have the town of Scottsville, the Scottsville area, all the way to the Buckingham line pocket. Those 3 pockets are 11 to 12,000 votes. Those 3 pockets determine the Scottsville district. I've announced roughly 10 days ago that I was running for Board of Supervisors. In those 10 days, I've done a lot of legwork getting to know Albemarle. And you would be shocked with how many residents in one of the most expensive, affluent, and wealthy counties in the Commonwealth. And Albemarle County is one of the most expensive to live, one of the wealthiest and most affluent counties in the Commonwealth, one of the largest counties in the Commonwealth. You would be shocked, frankly, you would be appalled with how many residents in Albemarle do not have access to reliable broadband internet. Broadband and reliable broadband has become synonymous with running water, synonymous with the ability to flick a switch and lights come on in your house, and synonymous with, in cold times, you have warmth in your house. In hot times, you have cool coming from your HVAC in your crib. That's what broadband has become. But you have pockets of Albemarle next to very affluent neighborhoods. I'm talking about areas in Taylor's Gap, areas in Milton, Old Garth Road, Tillman Road, Meriwether Hill, Advance Mills, Fraze Grant Road, Gilbert Station, Joan Mills Road, Snow Hill Lane, 20 South and 20 North, that literally have no broadband internet. You go from outside Glenmore to the areas and the neighborhoods right outside the gates of Glenmore, and folks do not have broadband. I like that Albemarle is making this commitment, perhaps a little too late, but the commitment is happening nevertheless. Alex Erpy in 2 minutes on the program. In fact, I got to be mindful of Alex Erpy's time. I'm going to reach out to Alex now, Judah. On the other side of the interview with Alex, I'm going to talk about why I think Gordonsville, Virginia is about to boom. Craig Hartman and Hunter Smith have a joint venture called the Ice House that is days away from opening. You already have Barbecue Exchange, one of the best barbecue joints in the Commonwealth, in Gordonsville. Patch Brewery with Andre Xavier and John Craig should open later this year. Gordonsville is a hop, skip, and a jump away from the city of Charlottesville. I'm going to tell you why I think Gordonsville, the town of Gordonsville, and the area right around the town of Gordonsville is going to go gangbusters over the next 18 months. We'll also let you know about the Yolk Shack, the newest business serving the University of Virginia, and the fact that LeBron James's rookie card just sold for $5.2 million. A lot we got to cover on the I Love Seville show, but before I get to those topics, we're going to get to Alex Erpy, Judah Wickhauer, and we have him on the line. A friend who watches this program, Alex, his name Trevor, I won't use his last name, he messaged me last week, and he said, I think the segment you do with Alex is the best one you do all week long. And this guy watches all our content. Now, he has a tremendous mind and passion for finance and for financial news, which is what we cover.
Awesome.
You, my friend, cover it closer and more closely than just about everyone in this community. So let me get out of your way. Tomorrow, a massive meeting with the Federal Reserve. What do you think we can expect?
To be honest, I think we can expect nothing. Pretty much. I think they're in a bit of a bind. I think the Fed is of the belief, and Xavier and I we talk about interest rates a lot, but as part of our business, not just working for individuals, but also the institutional side is fixed income. So you're always thinking interest rates, and just we're of the mindset that the Fed is on the side of thinking that the inflation we're seeing is temporary. This is a temporary blip from the economy reheating as we get into more vaccinations, as we open up more, and as we can see the pace of reopening, both the U.S. and globally, it's not as though it's a rapid pace. I mean, it is a slow, piece by piece pace. And the Federal Reserve just really has no incentive to be raising interest rates. I mean, they can't go much lower at this point, but they have no incentive to be raising interest rates right now. And so we don't foresee that happening.
What do you make of the folks that say the Fed needs to pause the stimulus, needs to get interest rates up, and these strategies or these nuanced tactics will help stabilize the economy, will help stabilize housing? A lot of folks predict if you increase the interest rates, then you shift the scales of justice from being a 100% seller's market to maybe evening it out for a buyer's market standpoint. What do you make of that conversation?
I understand the sentiment in the sense of, at least on the real estate side, certainly when the lower interest rates are, the more you have an incentive to, the mortgage is just easier to acquire. It makes a lot more sense. You have refinances, you have people purchasing new homes. On the other hand, I think it's important to keep in mind, I think, where the Federal Reserve, what the Federal Reserve is looking at here. And they are looking at a United States government that has just piled trillions upon trillions of debt in the last 12 months. And they are not going to make that debt more expensive for the Treasury. It's not going to happen. They are not going to look at this and say, even if we thought, let's say even if you were sitting there as the Federal Reserve and maybe they have an inkling or a suspicion that perhaps interest rates, that inflation is not a result of temporary mismatch between supply and demand, but is indicative of the economy overheating, which I think it would be difficult to sell from an economic perspective, the idea that the economy is overheating right now. I mean, when you're coming out of lockdown, you really can't look at this and say we're overheating. There's too much inventory. There's too many. If anything, there's a lack of inventory, as we're seeing in some places. And so that's the opposite of what you would expect if you were worried about the economy overheating. And so when the Fed weighs that risk against the risk of, are we really going to take the last $3 trillion in debt and say, now we're going to make the interest payment on this balloon? There really is no reason to do that. And I know technically speaking, and we joke about this all the time at Emergent, technically speaking, the Federal Reserve's dual mandate is keep inflation in check and produce optimum unemployment. In other words, keep unemployment low. Nowhere in their mandate does it say keep interest rates low for the United States Treasury to borrow at.
Right.
But we all know that there is no wall of separation between Janet Yellen at the Treasury and Powell at the Fed. They are talking to each other. They are aware of what the other one is doing, and the Federal Reserve is not going to just hike up interest rates and increase the debt burden. I mean, I think this was already several years ago. I think interest payments on our debt was already approaching 9% of the budget. So imagine the Federal Reserve going there and making interest rates now become 11, 12, 13, 15% of the federal budget. It's very hard to imagine them going down that road.
I got a tough question for you here. How would you characterize the reopening of the economy nationally and then locally in Central Virginia from a reopening standpoint? How reopened are we? How close is this economy nationally and Central Virginia-wise to clicking on all cylinders at the clip that we were clicking at, say, Q1 2020 before the pandemic shut us all down?
Well, I think we still have a ways to go. I think you can't underestimate the severity of the downturn we looked at. I mean, at the end of 2020, I believe we were still at about 6% off the pace. In other words, you're talking, I mean, in any other year other than a pandemic year, I tell you there's a recession of 6%, and that's a disaster. I mean, that is Great Recession levels. And I think we're now approaching, maybe we're somewhere between 6 and, somewhere between 94% back and 100% back. But those are massive numbers. I mean, we could be 3% off full capacity, and you're talking a major impact in terms of, I mean, if I told you that we were looking at a minus 3% GDP growth, that's recessionary levels. I mean, if you had any type of negative for 2 quarters, you're in a recession, technically speaking. So I think there's still a long way to go nationally. We're definitely seeing encouraging signs, but really until we cross the threshold and I think there's 2 thresholds. One is on the job side and the employment side, and one is on the consumer side. And I think both of them are similar in one sense. It is, do we cross the threshold from I am not comfortable to I am comfortable? Right? Do we cross the threshold from we are in a pandemic and things are getting better to we are no longer in a pandemic? And I think until the mindset shifts there, we're still going to see this mismatch between just the labor market and hiring markets. I mean, I keep seeing every day more and more restaurants with the little job
All of them.
on it.
All of them.
All of them. Pretty much everyone I know that is operating short-staffed, both in the kitchen and in the front, right? And that is a result of A, people being uncomfortable coming back, and B, let's face it, the incentives that we have put in there to help people in the pandemic don't exactly encourage you to go back to that type of job right now, right? So until that fixes and until the consumer is willing to go out there and say, yeah, I'm comfortable now going to restaurants, flying on airplanes, traveling, going out of my local community. I think just today the CDC finally relented and said if you're vaccinated, you can not wear a mask outside. Vaccinated. So, I mean, think about how baby step we're moving here. I mean, we're talking vaccinated people not wearing a mask outdoors. We're not even at the phase where we're being told, go and you can do this indoors.
Oh, they did.
And so
they did.
Oh, they went to indoors.
Yeah, the CDC has said that indoors, you can now hang out with people indoors that are not even in your pod or in your family. You can now hang out indoors with people without a mask on, that as long as they've been vaccinated.
Oh, as long as they've been vaccinated.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which introduces its own pitfall for restaurants. I mean,
how do you
tell?
Going to
start requiring? How do you know?
Yeah.
Are you really going to start requiring everyone to show you their vaccine card before they come in to eat a taco? It's going to be a very difficult and slow pace. So I think we just have to sort of keep that in mind. The law of numbers is very strange when it comes to the economy because we could be 1% to 2% off where we were last January and still be basically in a big hole.
I love this guy, Alex Erpy, CEO of Merchant Financial Services. All right, so much I want to ask you after what you just said there. Like many of our interviews go, we just kind of go with the flow, which I think make the interviews fantastic. I'm going to ask you a handful of questions here for you to go any direction you want. How much protection is in the Central Virginia economy when compared to, say, the national economy? Thanks to institutions like the University of Virginia, how much buffer do we have? How much ahead of the game are we economy-wise here in Charlottesville and Central Virginia compared to nationally? And then the second and third questions that I have for you are, is it up to the business owner, the you and me's, the Johnny Ornalises of the world, the Peter Castigliones of the world at Maya and at Guadalajara and El Mariachi? Is it up to the business owner? Should it be up to the business owner to have to ask the questions of, have you been vaccinated because your mask is off inside? I mean, is it up to the business owners there? I mean, what do you think?
It's so, the number one thing that has sort of been my takeaway of this is we have been really putting a very difficult time on the small business owner.
Yeah.
Just from the beginning of the decision of who had to shut down and who was allowed to stay open, it's been extremely tough. So, I mean, we're basically putting them in the position of being the enforcers.
The police!
Basically the police and the enforcers of health guidelines, because let's face it, in Virginia particularly, there's no actual, how do I say it, enforcement teeth to many of the guidelines in terms of social distancing, masking. Like, these are not things that are enforced on the individual. You can't get actually arrested for not wearing one. The onus is on the business owner, because they can get in trouble if you're inside their store violating some kind of guideline. And so we've put that on them. Now we're going to tell them, are you going to have to be the vaccine police here? I mean,
how's it going to play out?
What if the business owner says, yeah. Or what if the business owner works in a community that is saying, well, members of my community haven't yet become comfortable taking the vaccine? It may take a while for those communities. Are they going to really turn away members of their own community and say, no, I don't care that you're not comfortable taking a vaccine. You either get it or you can't come in my store. I mean, do we want to really put business owners in that position given just so much uncertainty is out there? And it's a really difficult ask for them to do. And I'm not saying I have answers in terms of what they should or should not do. I worry about forcing them to do things. I think small business owners, they have enough being put on them that they are forced to do right now without them being forced to act as another arm of the state in another area.
Yeah. I mean, I agree 100% with you. I mean, like, so let's throw this to you. Someone sitting at the bar, because you now can sit at the bar. Someone sitting at the bar at a local restaurant, they do not have their mask on, and they're sitting and talking, they're enjoying their beer, their margarita, whatever it is, and they're having a conversation, watching the game, just talking with the barkeep here. Does the business owner have to say to that person, have you been vaccinated? Or is the expectation this person's taking his or her mask off, so they obviously are vaccinated?
It's so difficult, because I mean, it's so hard to ask that question. As a business owner, you don't necessarily also want to be prying into the health status of your customers. I mean,
you're basically asking somebody this.
You're
basically asking somebody this. If you're the small business owner, have you gotten your colonoscopy because you have polyps? There's some blood in your stool, and I don't want you to have colon cancer.
Pretty much. I mean, think about it this way: would we ask it of any other vaccine? Would you ask someone?
No.
Did you when you were a child, before you come into my restaurant, when you were a child, did you get your measles shot, your Hep 1, your Hep B, all the shots that you should have gotten as a child? Have you gotten them? Because if not, measles is like the number one. Like, it has the row of 18. Like, it's the number one transmitted, like, in terms of how easy to transmit. Have you gotten this before you came into my store? Like, we really wouldn't ask it about anything else. And now we're sort of putting the onus on business owners to say, yeah, but you have to ask in this particular instance.
Yeah, okay, so this comes in via, this is really hard. This comes in via Twitter for Alex. It's unfair to ask the business owners to be the vaccine enforcement. We need better guidelines and expectations to help alleviate the pressure from business ownership. What do you think about that?
Oh, I agree with that. I think when we've talked about this before, I think clarity is the key here. And what we've been sort of missing is, with all the moving back and forth of what's permitted, what's not permitted, and what scenarios it's changed, there's not a lot of clarity. And without clarity, it puts business owners in a very difficult position of having to make decisions on the fly, right? Or make decisions in enforcing things that the state has said they must enforce. And the state has access to a lot of data that I, as a business owner, I don't have. And it's very hard to ask business owners to do that. And I think more clarity on all levels of the state would go a long way towards this, and say, at what point, are you as the state going to say this is okay, we're not going to be asking? And if you are going to be making a lot of requirements, then you as the state need to figure out a way to enforce your rules. You can't, and let's face it, part of this is they're going around legal and judicial restrictions. In other words, there's legal reasons why the state is not able to say, I'm going to put you in jail if you don't wear a mask, because apparently they can't actually do that.
Right.
So they're going around it by turning the business owner into saying, well, it's a health violation for you if they're not. Right? And so it's their way of getting around it. But it seems to me, in all fairness, you either go through the proper legislative and judicial steps to enforce your own laws, or you don't. You don't then turn to the business owner and say, since I can't enforce my laws, I want you to do it for me.
Right. I know. God, he said it better than I could say it. I love this guy. I agree 1,000% with this person. I mean, it's hard enough just getting payroll and keeping the lights on and managing inventory and cost of goods, to then ask a business owner or a general manager or a shift leader to have to go up to customers and people they don't even know that could be twice their age and ask them for proof of vaccination because they're sitting in their restaurant without a mask on? That seems crazy to me. That seems crazy to me. How long do you think masks are going to last, let's say in Central Virginia? Okay, the CDC says that we can be inside now with other people who have been vaccinated without wearing a mask. Furthermore, you and I know that the summer in Central Virginia is brutal. It's humid. It gets really, really hot. We also have access to the vaccines now more than ever. Do you think masks make it past summer in Central Virginia?
Sadly, I suspect yes.
You think so?
I think the pace just seems. I think there's a risk aversion that has been baked into. We taught. I think last year one of those very commonly used phrases was overabundance of caution, and back to my old. I took a little bit of I used to like philosophy, and my brother Nick is a big philosophy guy, and one of the major things of Aristotle is that you should always be in the mean. You should never be in an extreme. So I hear the word overabundance of caution. I'm like, that's not necessarily a good thing.
Right.
Abundance may be good, but overabundance, I'm not sure I want to go
Well,
there.
overabundance of caution. Overabundance of caution. Doesn't that make someone a scaredy cat?
It means too much. Like the definition of overabundance is I did too much. But we seem to be operating on that very risk-averse scale. So my suspicion is that this is just going to be a very piecemeal, little by little. Maybe we go in the summer. I think now in May there's going to be like a 100-person limit. Maybe in the summer you get 250 with masks and social distancing. Maybe in the fall they take out the social distancing, but they leave the mask. My suspicion is just the way no one wants to be. Let's face it. When it comes to, I think, political office, there's a risk averseness there. No one wants to be the guy that said, I did this too soon, and now every person that passed away from COVID is my fault. No one wants to be that governor / state legislator / super board of supervisors / city councilor that makes that call. So I think it's going to be a really, really slow process. Is just my suspicion given the pace at which we've moved.
The governor of Florida doesn't mind being that guy.
Oh, that's for sure. That's for sure. But Florida seems to have done it differently from the very beginning.
Florida has done it differently from the very beginning. Alex Erpes, fantastic people. All right, what'd you make of Jamie Dimon saying, J.P. Morgan Chase employees, your expectation is you're going to be in the office in July, albeit at a rotational basis at first, but eventually it's going to be more full-time. The dude is going on record saying, I want you in the office in July. Well, that's the biggest bank in the country. What do you make of that?
It's not all that surprising to me. I'll tell you a story. My dad, he always used to tell the story, even when we were pre-pandemic, when we were growing up, he would always tell us the story because he knew some people at Bear Stearns, which existed. It was a big financial firm prior to the recession. And he said Bear Stearns actually back in the day went to a casual Friday. And that's a big deal in financial because at that time you're talking like you have to wear your suit and your tie every day to work. And so they went casual Friday where you could just wear like a shirt, like a dress shirt. You didn't need the suit. You didn't need the tie.
That's a big deal in the summer.
Said, that was a big deal back in the day,
yeah.
Especially in the summer in New York. And my dad said it didn't last very long. They actually pulled it back because productivity declined so much on the one day, on the Friday of casual Friday, that the firm said, no, we're going back. And what I think we're seeing here is it may well be that for certain companies, depending the type of the company, maybe if it's a Silicon Valley type or something where people are really good with communicating and doing teamwork on Microsoft Teams or on Skype or on Zoom, that it could be some of those companies have decided, gee, we didn't really lose a lot of productivity with people working from home. My suspicion is there's going to be other types of companies, especially I was just talking to my dad earlier, he said a trading floor. He said you cannot replicate the energy of a trading floor at home. It doesn't matter if everyone's connected there, because in a trading floor you are just, there is yelling, there's buying and selling going on, and he said there's a lot of incentive for you as the guy there to pick up that phone and call your clients and say, this is what's going on this split second. I need to tell you about this. That doesn't happen if everyone's working from home. So my suspicion is we're going to see some businesses are going to look and say, I didn't lose productivity from work at home. And other businesses are going to say, I think we're missing something and we're going to lose something if people work endlessly from home. And my suspicion is that J.P. Morgan is probably seeing something there saying we can't have people working endlessly from home. At some point, they need to be able to collaborate in person. They need to be absorbing the energy of in person to do their jobs productively and well. And I think we're seeing a little bit of that there, which for me means at least commercial real estate, it is not dead. We have not nailed the coffin lid on commercial real estate quite yet. So it's still in the wake phase where we'll see if the guy gets up again.
Are you going to miss, if we go back to full-time in office, are you going to miss wearing the pajama pants? Do you have the pajama pants on right now, Alex? Is that no pajama pants? No Dora pants right now?
No way. Never. I don't think I've ever done a Zoom meeting where I didn't put on some kind of, maybe at the worst was a collared shirt, the ones with a short sleeve. Because I'm no one can tell if I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt. on a Zoom thing. But I can't imagine even on Zoom someone seeing me in like home clothing. I need to be appropriately dressed for my business.
Alex is always dressed to the nines. Anytime I see him, the man is always dressed to the nines. Neil Williamson of the Free Enterprise Forum has got a joke for us. He says, I anticipate some, but not a majority, of C-suite executives to opt for the Dora the Explorer pajamas on Zoom calls instead of coming into the office. That's from Neil Williamson of the Free Enterprise Forum. I love you, Neil. All right, tell us about Today y Mañana. What you got cooking?
Today, Mañana is going to be fun. We're going to have two guests. First, we got Edwin Roa. He's from Sabor Dance. He's in the studio there. So we've got an expert on salsa. He'll tell us a little about how that's doing, how he navigates that. I know he's got a dance method. He's got a dance location. We'll see how he's navigating pandemic with dance there, and he's fun. I've known his sister from Fort Adelante for a while when she was here, so he'll be fun to have in. And then we're going to have on Jackie Lamas. So she runs Lista, which is a club for Latina teen girls, teen moms, non-teen moms in Southwood area. So she's been running a club there, basically a great Latina initiative, getting them to come together, learn from each other, mentor each other. So two really fun Latino initiatives that we'll have on Thursday.
So does that mean the affable and the likable and the approachable and the all-around cool guy, Xavier, is going to be doing the salsa in our studio on Thursday morning?
I can't promise that.
Because I'm going to ask him that.
You'll have to ask him. You'll have to come. We'll hear you from the back saying, get up, Xavier, do some salsa.
Oh, man. They got a phenomenal show. Today y Mañana, Thursday mornings at 10:15 a.m. on the I Love CVille network. You gain a lot of financial news, a lot of quality news that is going to improve your life. And maybe you'll see Xavier Yerpe doing the salsa on set, because that would be amazing.
You never know. I can't promise that it will be appealing to the eyes if he attempts it. But I can't promise that it'll be a good laugh if he does.
Regardless, we could have some blackmail material.
Exactly.
You are fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Always so much fun to come on.
You have a good one.
You too.
All right, Alex Yerpe, guys, CEO of Emergent Financial Services, trusted name of the game, Emergent Financial Services. I will say it again. I will scream it. Emergent Financial Services. Alex Yerpe is the CEO. I hope Xavier does the salsa judo on Thursday here during Today y Mañana. I know that's something you're excited to see as well. Are you not? Yes, you are. You're excited to see that. All right, Judah, a couple things that I have out of the notebook that I want to get to. This is why I think Gordonsville is going to boom, okay? So Gordonsville, Virginia is right over the Albemarle County line. Gordonsville, Virginia has a new, very popular restaurant that's about to open, the Ice House, a joint venture between Craig Hartman of BBQ Exchange and Hunter Smith of Champion Brewery. The Ice House is days away from opening. You have Barbecue Exchange already in Gordonsville, and Andre Xavier, the serial entrepreneur, and his partner John Craig are going to open Patch Brewery later this month. A fantastic brewery that's got an event venue. It's going to have beer and wine. It's going to have a lot of experiential activities at the brewery, in-person activities. So you have three fantastic popular lures to Gordonsville. BBQ Exchange, Ice House, Patch. You have a location that is barely over the Albemarle County line. You have a housing market that is more affordable than most pockets or markets in Central Virginia. Once you go from Albemarle to Orange, the price of inventory drops dramatically. You got proximity to grocery stores. You got Keswick Vineyard and Castle Hill right there on that Albemarle County, Gordonsville line. I truly think Gordonsville is going to be the next little neighborhood or community that's going to boom. If you ever want to take an afternoon and stroll through one of the most charming, cute downtowns you can possibly find, drive to Gordonsville, park your car, and walk up and down the downtown. Oh, and let's not forget Neil Williamson. Neil Williamson's got Well Hung, a restaurant in Gordonsville. So here you got Well Hung, the Vineyard, who's opened up a restaurant in Gordonsville. You got Craig Hartman and Barbecue Exchange. You got the Ice House with Craig Hartman and Hunter Smith about to open. You got John Craig and Andre Xavier opening Patch Brewery later this year. These are major draws. I truly see a wine crawl, cider crawl, afternoon activity that's going to be Keswick Vineyards. Imagine the hop-on bus or the Cameron limousine. You start at Keswick Vineyards, you wet the whistle at Al and Cindy's place, Schoenberg, Keswick Vineyards. Then you get in the Cameron bus, the Cameron limousine, the hop-on tours bus, and you go from Keswick to Castle Hill for some cider. Then you're like, you know what? I wet the whistle at Keswick, I wet the whistle at Castle Hill, I need to get some food in me. You can then go to Patch Brewery, Ice House, Well Hung, Barbecue Exchange. You literally have like this connecting of the dots, this kind of wine, beer, and cider trail that's emerged in eastern Albemarle County into the Gordonsville area. And if you don't want to do the drinking trail, just get in your car and go to Gordonsville downtown and just hop around and see one of the most charming and quaint downtowns that you will ever find. Add in the fact that the inventory from a real estate standpoint is somewhat affordable. Add in the fact that it's 20, 25 minutes from Gordonsville to Charlottesville, epicenter of employment, and you have a collision of a number of factors, from my standpoint, determining a huge boom in popularity on the near horizon for this little town, this little area that we call Gordonsville. Just mark it down. If you disagree with me, let me know. A couple of other items I want to get out of the notebook. Phi Kappa Psi. I was a Phi Kappa Psi at UVA. That's the fraternity, the iconic fraternity right at the end of the Mad Bowl. So you're going down Rugby Road, you see that big field, the Mad Bowl. It's turf now. It was grass when I was there. And that fraternity that's at the back of the big field with the white columns, it's my fraternity, Phi Kappa Psi. A few brothers from Phi Kappa Psi have opened a business, and it's called the Yolk Shack. You will see a food trailer parked next to Phi Kappa Psi on Madison Lane. It's orange, and it has the painting and branding of an egg sandwich on it. A handful of brothers within the Phi Kappa Psi fraternity run this breakfast sandwich business on Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. For $5.50 all the way to $8.50, you can get breakfast sandwiches right next to Phi Kappa Psi, right next to the Mad Bowl, right off Madison Lane. $5.50 to $8.50, and you got brothers, fraternity men from Phi Kappa Psi making you breakfast sandwiches from a food trailer that they purchased as first years. They're now third years. The two owners of the business, McIntyre School of Commerce students, they wanted a business that they could work on while taking classes in the McIntyre School of Commerce, so they started the Yolk Shack. I applaud, I salute, I give props to anybody willing to get in to any entrepreneurial endeavor, certainly during college, when most of us were concerned with cold beer, beautiful women, and the trouble we were going to get into that evening. I know I certainly was. Props to those guys. All right, last item of the notebook, and then I'll get to your comments. If you have comments, put comments on any social media platform you're watching now, and I will relay those comments live on air. LeBron James. Oh, I got two more stories for you. I'm going to tell you here in a matter of moments how much the storefront next to Rapture Restaurant rents for, or the asking price for a rental standpoint for that storefront next to Rapture. If you're looking at Rapture while standing on the Rapture restaurant patio, the business right to the left of Rapture, it's a makeup business right now. They're not having success, the makeup business. That space is now for rent. I will let you know how much the rental price is in a matter of moments. Before I do, LeBron James, his rookie card, one of 23 rookie cards from the 2003-2004 Upper Deck Exquisite Collection. It comes with a rookie patch, like a piece of his jersey is on this LeBron James card. It literally just sold. They're one of 23. This is graded 9 on a scale to 10. 10 being the perfect cut, the perfect graded card. This is a 9 grade. This card just sold for $5.2 million. The sale ties the all-time record for any card with the 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle, purchased this past January for $5.2 million. It is now the most expensive basketball card ever sold. The LeBron James rookie card for $5.2 million. The previous most expensive basketball card sold was a $4.6 million Luka Doncic card that sold in March of this year. $5.2 million for that LeBron James card. The market for trading cards is on fire right now. On absolute fire right now. LeBron James's card, rookie, just sold for $5.2 million. And folks, the last item of the notebook, the location right next to Rapture Restaurant, the storefront, it's an end-capped corner unit. It's now for rent. There's a staggered pricing system for this storefront. I think this is an Alan Kajin-owned unit. I'm pretty sure Alan Kajin owns this. Rent for the remainder of 2021 for the storefront right next to Rapture. If you're looking at Rapture, it's the one on the left. Rent for the remainder of 2021 is $2,375 per month. Not bad. That's manageable. Rent for the first 6 months of 2022 is $3,806 per month. $3,800 a month for rent, just rent alone. That's starting to get up there. That's starting to get up there. Rent from June 1, 2022 and onward for this storefront is $5,075 per month. The remainder of 2021, $2,375. The first 6 months of next year, $3,800. Rent for the rest of the duration of the lease, including June 2nd and beyond, $5,075 a month for 1,784 square feet. Now, it's a corner unit, and you get a lot of foot traffic, especially with the very popular Rapture restaurant right next door to you. But 5 G's plus just in rent before payroll, inventory, cost of goods, electricity, internet, insurance, taxes, business license, and all the other jazz that goes into running a business. It adds up. It adds up quickly. Trust me, I know. All right, so that's the show. I hope you enjoyed it today. Neil Williams said, yes, Well Hung Vineyard in Gordonsville. You have a phenomenal brand and a phenomenal restaurant. And I think you opening and your partners, do you have partners, Neil? I'm not sure if you do or not. But you guys opening Well Hung in downtown Gordonsville, you guys, that is a smart move. A smart move. Gordonsville has affordable real estate. Gordonsville is 25 minutes away from the epicenter of employment. Gordonsville is going to have a brewery, an ice house. It's already got Barbecue Exchange. Patch Brewery's coming. Well Hung's there. You're close to everything. This little town is going to freaking boom. It is charming. It is quaint. It has amenities. And it's close to the epicenter of employment. James Watson says Apple is bringing a few thousand jobs to North Carolina to the Research Triangle. Our area could use job opportunities for locals like this. Amen, James Watson. Now, I will caveat this. The major employers that are opening up shop in Charlottesville and around Central Virginia, I hope to God those major employers are committed to hiring people within our community instead of bringing outsiders to the area to work at their new offices within Central Virginia. If these major employers are committed to hiring people within the Central Virginia community, Central Virginians, then that's going to be positive for our area. If the major employers are committed to bringing talent from outside of Central Virginia and saying to that talent, you're going to now move to Central Virginia to work at this satellite office or this new headquarters, then that could be potentially a negative for Central Virginia. You're going to be bringing in folks from outside the area with high-dollar jobs, high-dollar paychecks, and scooping up the little inventory we have within our market. That's how the cost of living continues to go up and get more expensive. So James Watson, I love when you watch the show. I would absolutely love to see some major employers coming to this area and setting up shop. I just hope their commitment is to hiring within the community. A couple more comments I'm going to get to, Judah, before our conference call at 1:45, our standing conference call. The social media ninja, Nicholas Erpy, has a comment. Nicholas Erpy, the social media ninja, says, Xavier may start moving, but no one can promise it will resemble salsa. I love Xavier Yerpy, Nicholas. I love your father. I love your father very, very much. I would love to see Xavier Yerpy on Thursday morning at 10:15 a.m. doing the salsa. Xavier, what was the name of that Cuban liquor that you gave me? It was a little tough to swallow there, Xavier. It was a little tough. I have plenty of it over on the bar for you if you want it to salsa on Thursday morning. I'm serious about that. Vanessa Parkhill has this comment. I'm not aware of any restaurant in Charlottesville who has stopped 2 or 3 couples from different households from sitting together without masks or over the past year. Why should the new CDC guidance change the way they're operating? Good question. This is my main issue with the CDC. This is my main issue with the governor's office. This is my main issue with the federal rules that are coming. My main issue is this. They're not clear guidelines. They change often, and they're not clear. I would love to either see federally or at the governor's level, Commonwealth, say, these are the expectations. And I would love to see the responsibility and the onus removed from the shoulders of the small and medium-sized business owners, removed from the shoulders of the general managers, the shift leaders, and the managers. And I would love to see a clear-cut, Commonwealth-wide guideline that says, when you're inside at a restaurant, you can do this, or you cannot do that. I do not think it's fair to place the responsibility and the onus on the shoulders of the business owner. The business owner has enough going on right now. Asking the business owner to police or to prove vaccinations or to be the mask gatekeeper is unrealistic, unreasonable, and unfair. Just me. All right, that's the show. Tomorrow, Dave Norris in studio. Thursday, Kelly Jackson. We'd love to get you in studio on Thursday, Kelly. Dave Norris in studio tomorrow. Folks, it's a great freaking day to be alive. Consumer confidence is upticking. We have beautiful weather. We have a community that is doing things the right way, a community committed to beating this pandemic, And we're freaking doing it. We're beating this pandemic. We're not through it yet, but we're winning right now. Cases and hospitalizations are down. Vaccinations are up. We are winning. Pfizer's got a pill that it's about to release where you can take it the day of if you think you've been exposed. Kids are about to get the needle in their arm this fall. UVA's returning to in-person teaching this fall. Public schools are returning to in-person teaching this fall. The next level of recovery, reopening, and strengthening this damn economy is getting people back to work and getting these vacancies from a storefront standpoint filled. That's the next step. That's the show. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us. It's a glorious day to be alive, isn't it not? Take care.